Hey, lovely people. I hope you're having a lovely start to your Friday and just jumping in, obviously, with today's video. And it's been something I've been really kind of pondering and I guess like working on a lot myself, and is certainly one of the things that I think impacts all of us at huge levels from time to time. And the biggest cause, I think, or one of the biggest causes, obviously there's a lot of experiences and large life experiences and things like that. Hey Donna, great to have you on, honey. I better put my glasses on so I can actually see who's jumping on here. Please say hello if you're jumping on. And one of the biggest causes I think that we have is judgment, and this is actually self-judgment is what I'm really talking about, because I think at the end of the day, whether we believe that we're being judged by somebody else or we're judging others, all of it is a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. Hey Audrey, great to have you on, honey. Loads of love to you, doll. So this is one of the biggest things. Hey Roz, lovely to have you on too, doll. I'm at the beach, Roz. It's so lovely to be here. So this is, self-judgment is one of the biggest factors I think that we experience as humans, and honestly is one of the biggest sources of low self-esteem, low self-approval, low self-belief, low confidence. Like all of those things are truly impacted through this, aspect of judging ourselves. Now, where so much of this comes from, hey Diana, lovely to have you on too, Dylan. Where so much of this originally comes from is obviously from our childhood, and particularly from the ages of 0 to 7. Because during that particular age, obviously we're taking in so much of who we believe that we need to be in order to be loved, to be accepted, to have approval from those around us. And we are hardwired for that, guys. Like as humans, like we need that approval. We need that acceptance. We need to know that we feel secure within our own environment, because our very survival depends on it. Like think about that, obviously as a small child, our survival absolutely depends on getting that approval or being loved and accepted within our tribe or our family. So, hey Di, lovely to have you on. So this is one of the factors of like we start self-judgment. Now, self-judgment comes from obviously like our parents and what they were judged for, and therefore what they then judge us for, supposedly. And this is like a lineage stuff. So quite often, like if you go back through family generations, there'll be a judgment, like if you're lazy, if you're not working hard, if you're perhaps not applying yourself, if you're not trying your best, if like you're not getting it right, or being perfect enough in some way, shape or form. And so as a small child, we're always taking in all of this information from everybody around us. We're seeing, where do I get extra love, extra approval, or what do I get? If I'm acting this particular way, I get extra approval or love for that, or I get isolated, or I get rejected, or I get abandoned in some way if I'm behaving in this way. And so we start to create all of these filters, which isn't actually an expression of our true authentic self, and whatever is taken and nourished. So perhaps if our parents really respect academia, then if we're rewarded or get approval or punishment if we're not doing well in academia, then that becomes a filter that we start to see ourselves through in who do I need to be and how do I need to be. Then what actually happens, hey Scott, great to have you on. Then what happens is as adults, then we start projecting that onto everybody else, and perhaps even as children. But our most formative years, where we're taking all of that information in, and it almost goes in, or in actual fact, it goes in like a hypnotic message. The bigger our emotional intensity of the experience, the deeper that's driven within the subconscious psyche. And so pretty much like all of our adult life is really then about unlearning all the things that we're not, and really understanding who we are in our heart. And the way that we step out of self-judgment is to come back to our heart and is to love ourselves for who we are, not what we're doing. And this is where like one of the biggest, I guess, traps come into play. And certainly one of the things that I've needed to really unpack for myself and really get clear on is all the ways that I got love and approval, from everybody around me, not just like my parents. And by the way, I was super blessed to grow up in a very, very loving and supportive environment. I had beautiful parents that encouraged me and were amazing in so many ways. And yet, when we have the perception of a small child, if you take, for example, just even getting dropped off for your first day at daycare, if you're like 2 years old, you don't understand that and you're like confused by what's happening. And then it's like, oh, but my mum's gone or my dad's gone. And now I'm here all alone and I don't know any of these people and I'm not safe. And what did I do wrong? And then we're trying to link associations in our own brain of how we've behaved or what we've done that has caused this particular thing. And I love the new definition of trauma that one of my mentors uses, which is any experience that causes us to feel or question our lovability, to question our value, to question our worthiness as a person or a human being, in fact, registers in the brain as trauma. So that makes like a lot of sense to me. Hey, Jerry, great to have you on. So all of these things really start imprinting and conditioning at deep levels. And the way that we really start to unpack this is by understanding, number one, who you are. Like, ask yourself that question, like, who am I? What do I value the most about myself for who I am? Not what I do, not what I achieve, not what I create, not any of the doingness. It's really, who am I being and what do I love and appreciate about who I am as a person? And really start to work with this at a deeper level and acknowledge that within yourself as well. The other gift that we get from judgment. So you might be like, oh, I don't like being judged, or, other people judge me for this or say this about me. You cannot be triggered by anything that which is not already a wound within you. And all of our adult life is really about healing the wounds of, who we've believed that we were or what we got punished for, or all of that judgment, to become more whole within ourselves and to really love and appreciate ourselves. And part of becoming an adult is owning that shit and no longer blaming circumstances or life or other people or, other experiences, and saying, no, I get to take my power back. I get to declare that I'm worthy, that I'm lovable, that I'm amazing, that I'm magnificent. And yes, I'm human and I still make mistakes, and that's completely okay. And I get to learn and I get to grow and I get to evolve. Because until we're actually taking that responsibility for ourselves, we're always going to be blaming either something outside of ourselves and being the victim and saying, yes, but I can't feel that way because this and this happened. And I can promise, from working with thousands of people over the years, we all have a story around why we believe that we're not lovable or not worthy, in some way, shape or form, like something that's impacted us deeply, and we're feeling that at that deep level. So the inner work is really about understanding and taking in an experience of where, and I love the words that Teal Swan uses about this, is, when you feel upset, are you actually, in fact, being set up in a loving way by the universe to be triggered in order to be able to come back to yourself and heal an aspect of self that you've abandoned, rejected, or judged, or that you felt wrong, because you were filtering yourself through the eyes of another, through their own judgments and their own experiences. And this is how we really step beyond that and create greater self-love. You know that you've done a lot of work on yourself when A, you can be around your birth family without being triggered, and B, when you just feel that you can be more authentically yourself, and not need to be performing, not need to be getting it right, not need to be doing anything in particular in order for you to love you. Remember, your worthiness is not attached to what you do in the world. And I think we're trained deeply, both by society as well as families of origin and lineage stuff and all of that, around our value comes from what we do in the world. And we're really starting to rewrite this script, I think, heavily in humanity right now, of coming back to that value of I'm valuable because I'm me. I'm valuable because I am who I am. And we're a unique, vital aspect. Each of us individually has a unique perspective, has a unique, vital role to play in the tapestry of humanity. And I think that that's really, really wonderful. And hey, Jan, lovely to have you on. And the more that we can come back to that sense of self and more letting go of the judgments. So when you notice, hey, I'm judging somebody, where is it that you're actually judging yourself? Because all projected judgment is only judgment that you have about yourself. And it's those aspects of self that we've disowned or made wrong. Perhaps, you were taught not to be angry, or not to be rude, or not to be lazy, or not to be any of those things. And all of those aspects serve us, but when we're only loving half ourselves, we're not actually really loving our full self. We're loving ourselves conditionally. Well, I'll love you if blah blah blah, and then we get angry and get upset when other people love us conditionally and say, well, you need to be this, otherwise, blah blah blah. So the more that we can love all of those shadow aspects, those darker aspects of ourself, or perhaps the aspects of ourself that we've either disowned or made wrong, or we felt others have disowned or made wrong, then the more freely you're able to be yourself and move about in the world without being triggered or feeling criticized or judged. And you will actually care less about what other people think or about their own opinion. You won't be so defensive or need to justify any of those things. So please let me know if this is resonating for you. Send me some love or some love hearts. If this has been one of those things for you particularly, or if you've got any questions, as always, please feel free to pop any comments in there or ask any particular questions about how to actually do this. One of the things, like, I've been working on my own self-love, and self-love's not like a one-time certificate. It's not like, oh yeah, like I'm loving and appreciating myself today, or, all of those things. Sometimes things happen that make us deeply question who we are or what we're about, or our lovability or our sense of value, or any of those things. Good morning, Sandra. Great to have you on. Now, lastly, I want to just share 3 things which I stumbled across the other night. I was listening to a few of David White's poems. Somebody mentioned to me about how magnificent they were, and I went and checked it all out. And yes, that's great, Kylie, that's resonating, honey. And so, of course, like doing the self-love work and really loving and appreciating ourselves and letting go of blaming others or saying, well, they did this or they did that. Like, anytime we're doing that, we need to turn that back around and see where, A, we're doing that to ourselves, and B, what do we need to do to heal those wounds and to love ourselves regardless of what other people are doing or saying. Sorry, I just kind of circled there. But coming back, I think these things are really pertinent to this particular conversation. And the first one is that David White mentioned the first illusion that we have as human beings is that I can build a life in which I'm not vulnerable. And so we set about like being the best version of ourselves, or, like being so strong, or having this amount of money in our bank account, or having this particular relationship, believing that that is the foundation that brings us certainty, and that, I'm fine, like I'm okay, I don't need any particular help, like I'm okay. And I remember the first time that I actually felt really vulnerable in actually asking for help, and it scared the crap out of me, to be honest. I found it so difficult, and I also felt unworthy of receiving that help. And that was, like a help that I was asking for both from my dad and my brother, and they were more than happy to step in and to help me. But it was so hard, so difficult for me to actually ask for, to be vulnerable and to ask for help, because I'd built my life on being this pretense of being this independent, strong woman of, I can just take care of everything and I don't need anyone. And in terms, like, that is totally a coping mechanism, because in truth, like, humans need humans. We're here, we are born for connection. We're actually hardwired for connection. So that's the first illusion, is that I can build this life in which I won't be vulnerable. The second illusion is I can build this life or create this life where my heart will not be broken. And I love what David White had to say about this. The deeper that we care about anything or about anyone sets us up, in fact, to have our heart broken. And I don't mean that in a negative or terrible way. It's just when you deeply, deeply care, there's the depth of joy, there's the depth of love. The deeper that you care or love somebody, there is always the risk that comes with that. And that's that vulnerability, really, that, you know, they may have a moment. They may want something different. They may, and it's the freedom, it's the ebb and flow of all of life. And yet when we're trying to cling to, no, this person needs to be this for me, or this person can't break my heart, or this experience, like even with work, you know, when you love deeply, when you care deeply about the people that you work with, or with your clients, or with any of those things, you know, we're setting ourselves up to have the very human experience, because the amount of pain that you experience with that can be in relationship to the depth that you actually really, really genuinely care. And it's part of the human experience, because we can't know what love is until we feel what love is not, or what pain is not. So again, it's like the temperature, like if you experience truly hot water, then you also know the difference between what hot is to what cold is. So it's always the contrast that serves us, and that we get to redefine our life and create our life through. And I think that that's really powerful. Hey, Alyssa, great to have you on, honey. So the other thing, the last point, or the last illusion that we create from this place of, you know, not wanting to experience heartbreak, not wanting to be vulnerable, is that I can create this path of clarity ahead of me. Or if we're not doing this, sometimes we feel like we're failing in some way as a human being if we can't determine the path fully ahead of us with absolute certainty and control. And again, it's a great illusion that, yes, you know, and you may have heard that, I guess that story that, you know, you tell God your plans and hear him laugh. Literally, because like our ego wants certainty, our ego wants security. And so it's like, and you know, you may have had some big plans for like 2020, and clearly, you know, life had other plans for us all in so many ways. I had my 10-year goal booked of taking my girls to Disneyland, like a goal that I had literally created for like 10 years, or been in the making, or the dreaming of, the imagining of, and had our flights booked for May. And of course, you know, that plan didn't occur, that plan didn't happen. And that's not to say that it won't in the future, but it's like really just understanding that sometimes the path is clear and sometimes the path is not clear. And that, again, it's part of the divine dichotomy in life around all of the experiences that we have as well. So, you know, when we buy into these illusions, we literally set ourselves up for suffering. It's in the understanding that, you know, life is difficult sometimes. Life can be a struggle. And that's not to say that we need to make life mean that. It's just like when you accept that, when you come into the full acceptance of, yes, life comes with heartbreaks, life comes with ups and downs, life is circular, life is rhythmic. And, you know, it's in the outflow that we also get the inflow. It's like our breath, you know, like if you believe that you could continue breathing in like forever, sometimes that's what we want. We want to take in all the good stuff, and we don't want the bad stuff. We don't want to let anything go. And, you know, that's not sustainable. Like if you continue to try and breathe in for forever, like life is so rhythmic. And when we come to the full acceptance of that, life becomes so much kinder and the ride becomes gentler. I'm just going to read what Kylie said. So when you have a broken heart or experience heartache, it actually brings you back to yourself, and how you heal yourself is the universe helping you. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that's what I was talking about with the upset, or are you being set up by the universe? And I certainly know through my own experiences, you know, when I've been confronted with a huge experience, which I haven't known how to proceed forward through, and I've had to come back to myself so deeply and look within myself so deeply and feel that so deeply. Hey, Danielle, great to have you on, honey. You know, life really becomes quite amazing, and we're able to transcend so much of that pain, so much of that suffering, by letting go of the illusions perhaps that we've created, that life shouldn't be this way. Anytime we're fighting against life or fighting against the reality of what is, we are only going to lose 100% of the time. And I love, Byron Katie's work around that. She says that all the time. And I truly believe that, we're in suffering when we're pushing against what is. And the ability to be able to come back to a place of peace and acceptance within ourselves, which we can do with absolute love in our heart and without the judgment. The judgment is, just a representation of the ego, when we can step back and observe, what am I judging, what am I feeling right now, without actually being attached to it or attaching it to our identity of I am depressed, I am sad, I am angry, I am happy. When we say that, we attach it to our identity. It's like, oh, I'm having this experience of feeling these emotions, or I'm having this experience of noticing that these emotions are present within my reality right now. And in that sense, now we're actually starting to observe it and get curious about it, rather than be all consumed by the experience of it. So I truly hope that that's helped. Sweetie, Roz, so much love to you, darling. Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the most valuable things, is being able to sit in our grief. It's bloody hard. Like, I know that. And, I sending so much love as well. But it definitely, like, the more that, we enable ourselves to feel the feelings of whatever we're experiencing, things can shift so fast when we actually do that. When we're not resisting, when we're not pushing against, when we're not, and again, that's that judgment of self. I had a lot of judgment around my own emotional state and around feeling my emotions or being emotional. And I'm a hugely emotional creature. Like, again, there's the attachment to the identity around that. And I experience a lot of emotions with great depth and intensity. And when I allow myself to be with the emotional, the experience, then it blows through me, kind of like a cloud, that I'm in the experience of feeling the cloud or feeling the emotion. And when I allow myself to experience it fully, not be trying to push it away, not be trying to guard or defend myself against it or make myself wrong for feeling it, then it passes through quickly and without any particular drama. It's just like, oh wow, that's a really intense feeling. And so I love that you gave yourself that permission, Roz, to really be with where you're at. And I know we get deeply attached to our animals. I certainly had that experience quite a few years ago with one of my pets that I'd had for 15 years as well. And and it's a real time of letting go. And at the moment I'm just transitioning through letting my girls go into that next step of, or not letting my girls, they've got full permission to do that, but it's the letting go of the attachments that we develop as human beings to our identity around, well, I'm this mum or I'm this particular role. And when we have attachments, there'll always be suffering when we're trying to let it go. But it doesn't, we don't need to suffer through that. It's the judgment that comes with that creates the suffering, as opposed to feeling the feels, having the emotional experience, and then being able to come back to genuine peace and contentment and calm in our hearts. So I truly hope that served, and sending you all loads and loads of love for a magnificent rest of your day. I have my last day at the beach today, heading back home, and truly excited to also be heading back home. I've had a wonderful time down here and had lots of time to reflect and digest, release, let go, cry, laugh, all of those experiences, and just be really human in all of that. And if there's one gift, that you could give yourself today, is to really just allow yourself to be human and feel the feels. It's such a gift when we allow ourselves to drop into that place of non-judgment and allow ourselves just to be as we are, and to really cherish the humanness of who we actually are as well. So loads of love to all of you, and have an amazing rest of your day, and so much gratitude for you tuning in and being present with me today as well. And of course, as always, if this has served you or helped you in any particular way, please like, love, or share it with somebody that you care about, or that you know that this could potentially help as well. So thanks so much, Roz, and Senna, yes, look, talking to myself as well as anybody else that this resonates. And that's what I love about the human experience, is that we do honestly all resonate in so many ways. Even though we may have very different stories and very different journeys, the human experience is so similar in so many ways that we all question our lovability, we all question our value at times. We question am I getting it right? All of that humanness, because we all have that ego survival mind. We all have our unique heart and our unique perspective and our unique soul and life purpose here to live and to express. And that can be confusing, navigating the human pathways at times. And the more that we can bring love and self-compassion and not judgment, the more that we get to reflect that out into the world, and the more that the world reflects that back to us. Our world is our mirror, guys, and all that it is a big projection of the story that we're telling in our own mind. So the more that we can really sink into the depth of that love, then the world reflects that love back to us. And if anything, that is the most valuable gift that I've learned over the years, is anything that happens is just feedback for me of, hey, what am I thinking right now? Where am I judging myself? Where else do I need to heal perhaps a childhood wound or a story that I've been telling myself that is actually no longer true? So lots of love to you all, and big love, Helen. If you've just jumped on, please jump in and watch the replay as that comes up. And that is so beautiful, Senna, that you got to see something beautiful and different and something new. And I think that that's a gift, when we can certainly see that within ourselves and also see the world in a different way as well. Again, our beliefs are the lenses, the filters, the glasses that we're looking through all the time, and the world will always reflect what we're believing to be true and our own expectations about what the world is, who we are, and who other people are. So lots of love. Bye for now. Hey, Dion. Just jump back to the replay, honey. Big love. Bye.